How you doing? I don't know how much battery life I've got left in my camera. With my luck today, it's probably going to run out in the middle of this. I just got my ass kicked by a Bad Company song. I wasn't as prepared as I should have been. Anyway, I wanted to, I said I'd explain a little bit more about why I started that Buy Me a Coffee page. So I'll try and be brief. It's not going to, but I'll try. So it's about a year ago I left my old job. I'd been there about 14 years, and I liked the job. I just didn't like the I don't know what you call it. It was just, the place was just dysfunctional, you know. So I kind of got up the courage to leave, and you know, I wanted to find something that was a better fit for me for the remaining years that I have to work. So it's about a year since I left there, and I'm on my fourth job. So it's too soon to tell with this, my most recent job, but so I'm still searching. Fortunately, I'm still employable, and you know, there's plenty of jobs out there. So you know, I was just like, man, I just hate jumping around, you know, from jobs. It's like, you know, it's like your first day of school. Anyway, well, as I said, one night I was up, you know, responding to comments on my channel and maybe having a drink, and I got to think. I said, do I have something here? Am I sitting on something? Meaning my channel, that I could maybe turn into something more. And I know I've always said I'd never monetize my channel. For fear of turning it into a job, because I really enjoy just what I'm doing. But I was kind of a moment of weakness. So I reached out and I sent a text to a fellow I met through the channel, who's, for lack of a better term, is like a marketing guru guy. He has his own business, and he does consulting, and he speaks at you know, conventions and stuff like that. And we exchanged numbers a few years ago, and we have kept in touch. So I just sent him a text. I said, well, listen, would you know, mind if I pick your brain about a couple things? So I called him up and asked him. I said, do I have something here that I could turn into something more? And he said that I definitely did. And then started speaking another language about, you know, things I'd need to do or could possibly do. But you know, he was very patient. But you know, we were all on the phone for over an hour. So you know, didn't make any decisions based on that conversation. So with my channel, I'm closing in on 50,000 subscribers, which really, when you've got people with hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers, it's not that much. But in my world, it's you know, 50,000 is, I think it's 48,000, is really good. And one of the things I'm proudest about my channel is that it's grown organically, meaning I've never promoted it, you know, on any social media platform, you know, not even much on YouTube. You know, once in a while if I post something on Facebook, in like, you know, I belong to like a Spectre group and an area group. So, you know, it's good to have contact with people if you got a question. So once in a while, I'll post a video in there. If I ever do, I'll just post the raw video, and I'll never link it to my channel. You know, you never, and not that there's anything wrong with this, but you'll never hear from me like, share, subscribe. I mean, that's what social media is good for, but it's just, no, I never felt comfortable with it. And while you know, my channel's not monetized, I'd never taken any free gear or discounts on gear for anything. I'm happy to let people know what I use. I'm the worst self-promoter there ever was. So everyone who's subscribed to my channel found it on their own, and you know, a lot of people have been here since the beginning. So you know, the channel's grown to a reasonable and still a manageable size. I'm able to respond to every comment, and I enjoy doing that. When I get backed up, I start to get I don't know, suffer anxiety. But I have thought about doing some more lesson-based stuff, like I've been kind of like I've been doing, but maybe a little better. Some stuff more along the lines of what I'm doing with Tim Fletcher and that Kansas project. Stuff with, some tabs and transcriptions, and a video with playing tips and a play along, and maybe possibly getting having the videos edited, maybe a little better sound, but that would all mean bringing paying someone to do those things. So I really have no interest in learning how to edit video or transcribe music. It's a little late for that. So the usual vehicle for that sort of thing is Patreon. I know the camera's going to run out and I'm going to throw it out the window. I don't know much about it, but I think it normally requires people to do it like a monthly subscription, and then there's tiers, right? And there's stuff behind a paywall, and I also think that to become a patron, you need your own Patreon page. Again, I don't know, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. That's fine. A lot of people use it and do it, but it didn't sound right for me, and it sounds a little complicated. All right, now here's where I'm going to get off track. But bear with me. I'll circle back around. There's a club right up 20 minutes up the road, the same road I live on, in Marlboro, New York, called Live at the Falcon, and we've seen lots of top shelf musicians play there. We've seen Bernard Purdy, so Oz Noy, who's an Israeli guitar player, but the guys in his band was Anton Fig and Will Lee. And that was the time I went up to meet Will Lee, and he said, "You're the guy with the heads, right?" Who's seen the Levin brothers, which is Tony Levin and his brother. One of the guy who's there all the time is the Ed Palermo Big Band. It's a 14-piece big band, and they do Frank Zappa music. Now, I'm not a big band guy, and I'm not really a Frank Zappa guy, but to see musicians of that caliber play music that's sophisticated is just incredible. And he also had a violinist with him, a woman, Katie Jacoby. She wound up getting picked up. She had like a Flying V violin, and she was just great, and she wound up getting picked up by the Who. She's traveling with them. Roger Daltrey put the harmonica down for the end of Baba O'Reilly, and now they've got a respectable violin solo going on. Who else do we see? Amy Helm. Donald Fagen even played there, warming up. Anyway, the place is owned by a guy named Tony Falco, and he's an interesting guy. If he had a catchphrase, it would be "support the living arts," because that's what he does. He's never sold a ticket or had a cover charge or anything like that. It's all based on the honor system. So, we make a reservation, we go, we eat dinner and watch the show, and then before the show, he'll get up and talk to the audience and tell the audience a suggested amount for them to put in a donation box on the way out of the club. And that's how it works. He goes out of his way to, tell people who can't afford the whole amount just to give what they can, and people who can afford to give more, he urges them to do that. And we always try and give a little extra. He also features every month or so, different painters, and has their work hung throughout the place. Just really great. I've always respected that business model. I'm not sure what his accountant thinks of it, but anyway, I just like that. So I came across this, here I'm coming back around, came across this Buy Me a Coffee platform, and it's more like a virtual tip jar. It's voluntary, it's not intrusive. I'm not going to clobber you over the head with it. I think the link is on my channel, and maybe I'll put a link in the text beneath the video. So like I said on the page, I'm not selling anything, and a contribution doesn't get you anything extra, and if you don't contribute, you don't get anything less. But if I may, do some like special edition videos down the road that maybe I'll put the coffee towards that. I don't want to put anything behind a paywall, because there's people maybe too young to contribute, or maybe don't have a credit card or just can't afford it, and that's fine. And I wouldn't want to exclude anyone from anything I'm putting on my channel, because it's, frankly, it's well, it is what it is. And I did want to say this: anyone who uses these pay services or promotes himself, that I have no problem with that. It's it's just not in my DNA. And also, like what I said on the page, it's more of a social experiment, or as much a social experiment as anything else. And thank you for the people who already have contributed. That was very nice. So I'm going to leave it up. What was the links on my channel? Special edition sort of videos. Also, on one of my last videos, some people might have read me. I mentioned about possibly getting a Federa base, which are very expensive bases. So you might have been like, well, why is this guy is thinking about getting a Federa? Why is he begging me for a cup of coffee? Well, it's another long story, but kind of what happened is Halloween used to be our holiday, and we haven't had a party in 5 or 6 years, and we've come to the terms that we're not going to have another party, but that was our big holiday, and it just got to be too much work. It wasn't the expense, it was just the amount of work that went into it. We had a great run. I think we had like 16 parties over 19 years. So what I did was I had some masks from the guy I collect from that were really big, and older ones that are out of production. And I belonged to a mask group, and people were looking to buy masks, so I put some up, and I got decent money for them. They were literally just sitting in the basement. And then I got thinking, I had, couldn't even get into our garage because I had these really big props that I made. I put those on Facebook Marketplace, and I wasn't giving them away, but again, I wasn't, it cost me more in materials than I asked, than I was asking for them. But a woman actually bought, I had 4 big pieces, a Frankenstein, the Metaluna mutant. I actually gave her the figures I used as models. I had the big tree and a big pumpkin thing. Big, things are 9 feet tall. I had a woman buy them all. She rented a 26-foot box truck and drove from Maryland. And we packed them up, and she's going to actually display them in her house. So I was really glad that they went to a good home. I also sold some stuff to a guy who runs a big local haunt here. I had like 14 skeletons in the basement. Sold him those, and I kept some stuff for myself, but sold him some lighting effects that I had. So not that I owe you an explanation, but I had all this big influx of cash, and what else am I going? So that's how the Federa thing came about. But that fell through. I was dealing with some nut on Reverb, and I couldn't just let that money sit in the bank. So the Federa thing fell through. But what I did do is I'm supporting the living arts, and I'm having the guy who works on my bases actually build me something special. So that's it. All right, so that's it. I can't believe I didn't run out of juice on the camera. That's it. Have a good weekend. Take care.